All right. We're going to go ahead. Oh, we got a couple people coming on. So I'm going to give it a minute. And for those of you that were here yesterday or had the ability to watch the replay, um, how did we do on the worksheets of like what is your best life, your what is your dream? What would you love to have happen in your business and in your personal life? And then also, like, how do I find the identity of that? So, if we work through the worksheets, put in the chat for me if you have any questions or any ahas that you might want to share from doing that kind of work. So, what did you find out about yourself from deciding what it is that you desire and who it is that you are as the version of you who creates all that you desire? Share with me if you have any ahas from that or if you have any questions on that. The reason that I am bringing this up is because for a lot of people, it's not real easy to determine what it is that we desire. Isn't that odd that that's a question that we haven't actually asked ourselves? That we haven't really stepped back and said, what do I want? And we've allowed the world to tell us what it should be. Anyone have anything? And by the way, I'm also going to say this. If you get to a point where you cannot hear me or I go out, please let me know. Yesterday, my microphone was kind of going in and out and I didn't realize it. So I would love it if you would tell me that to make sure that we have good audio through the whole thing. Okay, Ashley, I have a direct message from you. Am I able to share this out loud? Fantastic. Okay. She says, I did better this time with the majority of the questions and what I desire, but my identity and who I identify as was a struggle. Lots of moving pieces these days. Okay. So it's easy for you to say, okay, this is what I would love. But the question of what version of me do I step into? Who do I need to be in order to have that is the struggle. So it's really interesting. I had a one-on-one client this morning and we were talking and he said, Brooke, I finally got it. I'm finally like over the imposter syndrome and I stepped into the identity. And I said, how do you know? And he said, I just stopped caring. I stopped getting like that weird feeling of like, uh-oh, what are people going to say? I stopped being attached to the outcome and I just knew I was going to come from value and it was all going to work out no matter what. It was just going to give value. And I was like, holy crap. He said, once I stepped into the identity, the ideas just started coming to me. I know I can do this. I know I can do this because it was with confidence. So I'm going to help you to step into the identity. But that is like the one thing that, well, that's one of the reasons that like I always have a coach, always, regardless, is simply because I'm held accountable into stepping into the identity. Right. And he said, I didn't realize like how much coaching was like just so much of like having me step into it and not and having you call me out on the reasons like why I can't or why I won't or what's going on. But there's something though, I'm going to read this to you, Ashley. And I know I hate being readed to. I hate readed to. I hate being read to. What? Like, who's listening to me? Kind of wish the mic did just go out there, right? But there's something here that is so interesting that I really want you to take to heart. Okay. So, isn't it interesting that, like, the one book I'm reading right now for my book club, I picked a Brené Brown book for our book club because it's supposed to be light and it's like something that, Brené Brown, it's Brené, right? But I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is powerful. So I want you to hear this part of what she says, okay? She says, People respond when they hear a phrase, see or hear the phrase, never blank enough. It only takes a few seconds before people fill in the blanks with their own tapes. I'm never good enough. I'm never perfect enough. I'm never thin enough, successful enough, never smart enough, never certain enough, never safe enough, never extraordinary enough. We feel never enough because scarcity is something that we live. She says one of her favorite writers, Lynn Twist, in the book Soul of Money, refers to it as the great lie. For me and for many of us, our first waking thought of the day is, I didn't get enough sleep. The next one is, I don't have enough time. And whether or not that thought of not enough occurs to us automatically before we even think to question or examine it, we spend most of the hours and the days of our lives hearing, complaining, explaining, or worrying about what we don't have enough of. Before we even sit in bed, before our feet touch the floor, we're already inadequate, already behind, already losing, already lacking something. And by the time we go to bed at night, our minds are racing with the litany of what we didn't get or didn't get done that day. We go to sleep burdened by the thoughts and wake up to the reverie of lack. This internal condition of scarcity, this mindset of scarcity, lives at the very heart of our jealousies, our greed, our prejudice, and our arguments with life. The greatest lie is that we just don't have enough. And the reality is we all have everything we need. We just have to allow it. And the reason we don't allow it is because we're telling ourselves some BS story that doesn't serve you. So whatever it is, I would journal on that. I would ask what that is. And I would then question it. And I would say, who says? Who says? Right? Do I have to believe that? Does that have to be my thing? Amy says, I feel like this is more common with women than men. We overthink everything. Okay. Amy, oddly enough, my husband is on here, right? So he could probably speak to that. And I love that you said that because I think that, yes, to an extent. Okay. I really believe that society has put pressure on us as people and our gender roles and what that is. Okay. So we women definitely wake up to what we feel never enough of. The also thing that I have noticed and learned is that men have different pressures. Like, do I provide enough? Is my wife happy enough? Like, am I man enough? Right? I think that Amy, believe me, we all have like the crazy, crazy pressures, but it's interesting how we allow society to tell us what's enough and we compare, right? So every time I come home and say, oh, babe, so and so just redid their kitchen, I want to do that. And then I say, oh, we just don't have enough money. Society would say that the gender who would take on the pressure of that would be the man, right? We're supposed to be thin, be pretty, whatever. We're not supposed to. I'm just saying, like, that's like society, right? We hold ourselves to that and put the pressure on. I think it's different. I also think that men, and I think that the reason why, and I'm just speculating here, but I also think that the reason that we believe that women experience it more is because women are more allowed in society to express emotion. We're allowed to talk about those things. Men are not. You're not man enough if you talk about your emotions. So I think really what we all need to realize, first of all, we are all one. We are all connected. We are all one. And I think we all long for the same thing, connection. And so I think that that's like not whether you're a man or a female. I just think that connection. And so the pressures are different. But I love that you actually brought that to the awareness of like, okay, do I have the same pressures? And just because I don't understand them and what society is putting on me or putting on my spouse or my man, my men, my child, or whatever it is because of their gender role that they're supposed to play, can we still have compassion? Can we do that? Josh says, I would agree with that, Amy. Maybe we talk about it more. Men hold it as a matter of pride. There you go. Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. Now, I also know there's some women in the room here, and I can say this as a single mom, I held the standard for myself of being the mom and the dad, of being the I can do everything on my own and not asking for help. And then that came with other pressures. And I know like there's some women in here that have done the same thing, right? And so the really big thing that we want to ask ourselves though with these pressures is, do I have to put that on me? Do I have to believe that? Does that have to be my truth? And if you believe it does, then you're going to ask yourself again, why? What's the reason why? Do I care deeply about what people think of me? Am I afraid of being criticized? Do I have a fear of failure? Right? So, all these things. So, this all ties into what we're going to do today. Every kind of conversation, right? Because the minute we talk about what it is that we desire, all of a sudden we start thinking about all the uh-ohs, all the yeah buts, all the what ifs, all the reasons why we can't. So today we're going to take that, what you desire. We're going to talk about what it is that the identity of stepping into the being of that version of you. And by the way, stepping into that higher version of you is simply stepping into that higher version of you, meaning you are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. You just need to change your mind about your identity. Make sense? Okay. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to kind of revisit some questions if you have any. And then we're going to go into how we're going to talk about some guideposts of like living a wholehearted life. We're going to talk about how that wholehearted life applies to your business and to the life by design. Because remember, we said the purpose of business is to fund your perfect life. Okay. I don't want you in here going, oh my gosh, like we have all these things to do and I'm going to be working 80 plus hours a day or a week. That doesn't make sense. 80 plus hours a day, a week, right? I don't want that. I want you to live very fulfilling lives. So we're going to talk about the guideposts for a wholehearted life. All right. We're going to talk about that. Then I'm going to interview one of my favorite clients. I mean, I love all my clients, but this client has actually made some major quantum leaps in her own personal life. And we're going to talk to her about what that looks like, how her identity has shifted a little bit and the changes that she's made. Give you some pointers, give you some ahas. We'll interview her for a little bit there. And then what we're also going to do is we're going to go then after we've done with that interview, we're going to talk about the value of time and how to not allow time to get away from you and how you decide how your time works. I can already hear, Brooke, we're in real estate. Everybody tells us what our time is. Only if you have that limiting belief. Only if you have that limiting belief. Okay. So we're going to talk about and go into how to value your time. And then we're going to get into, once we know what we want, the identity of the person and the version of us that steps into that, the time that we're going to allot to our business. Then we're going to talk about building a repeat and referral business. And I'm probably going to like vomit all over you with a ton of ideas. And we won't go into great detail on any of them today, but I'm going to give you like the ideas, plant the seed in there. And then the ones that you desire most is what we're going to go into great detail in the playbooks tomorrow. Sound good? So you're going to get a lot of value today. All right. Okay. All right. So how do we make decisions from the best version of you? How do we do that? All right. First thing is you went in and you said, okay, who am I? Who do I see myself as today? Right. And when we do that and we actually allow ourselves to go there and do the brainstorm and really kind of go in, we kind of start to see some of the stories that we allowed ourselves to believe. Okay. We kind of go, ooh, yeah, I believe I'm a really great realtor. And I believe I have the ability to sell 20 million this year. But I believe that if I do, it's going to take away from my family. I believe that if I do, I'm going to outgrow my friends. I believe that if I do, I'm going to have to work 80 hours a week. But I tried that before and it didn't work before. I took that risk that one time and I fell flat on my face. Oh, repeat and referral business. One time I asked my friend to use me for real estate and I lost that person as a friend. That right there are the stories that come out when we really let the pen flow. Those are the stories that we uncover. And then we kind of go, who says? Who says? And by the way, if that's the but, where did that come from? And am I living from the present past or am I living from the present future? Because the subconscious mind, remember what we talked about yesterday, has no idea whether or not the story from the past or a story from your imagination. But whatever we embed in our subconscious mind becomes our truth because that is what we act from. That is where our energy comes from. So we talked yesterday about, okay, it's so important to get into our imagination. A lot of times people go, oh, like the meditation and the visualization and the journaling and stuff. That's what we're going to call, that's what we call the feminine work, right? That's the getting into the imagination. That's planting the desire in there, how we feel, how we think, how we see the world, right? Because if we don't get into our imagination and see it, our subconscious mind works from stories of the past and what's been created in front of us right now. That's going to be the feminine work. It's really important that we get into that daily. Now, here's the catch. There are people who love the feminine work and they love to just stay in their imagination and they love to meditate and they love to do the journaling. And then they just think everything's going to happen. No. You do have to take action. You do have to then get into the masculine work, the doing, the activity. But when you operate from the identity of the person who already does, who already has, who already is, it feels so much easier and less unfamiliar. That makes sense. So if I am a 5-figure income earner and I desire to make 6 figures, if I don't get into my imagination and identify first as that 6-figure income earner, 7-figure income earner, whatever it is you desire, doing it from the identity of a 5-figure income earner feels hard. Makes me feel like I have to work harder. Makes me feel like I have imposter syndrome. We have to get into that identity first. And then it's familiar. Okay. All right. So who do you believe to be now? And how do you be her? I'm going to say her. Josh, you're just going to have to go with her because I got a room full of women and I'm digging it. All right. So the first thing we have to do, we got to give ourselves grace. You got to love yourself unconditionally. When I say unconditionally, tell me what that means in the chat. What does loving unconditionally mean to you? Someone share with me. What's loving unconditionally? Without regret. Okay. Accepting all the good, even our shortcomings too. Okay. Love with all your faults and crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Okay. Okay. Pay attention to your language right here. Okay. Pay very close attention to the language here. Would you say to your child, I love you, even though you have a ton of shortcomings? Would you say to your child who you love unconditionally, I love you, even with all the craziness that you bring and all the faults you have in your life? I love you anyway. What are we solidifying as truth right there? That we actually have shortcomings and faults. That crazy is a bad thing. Right? Like, I love my crazy. Oh no, my husband does, but I love my crazy. Like, whatever. I love my, like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, those are like, we want to pay attention to the language that we use. Loving unconditionally means no matter what. No matter what my past is, no matter what my income is, no matter what my weight is, no matter what my sales are, no matter what mistake I made yesterday, no matter what, I am worthy. I am good enough. I am loved. Like, think about Mel Robbins. Every morning she wakes up and she gives herself a high five in the mirror, right? The high five habit. Why? Because high five means like, you're alive. Good job. I'm proud of you. So we can hate our way and we can hate ourselves and we can beat up ourselves for everything that has happened. Or we can just say, I'm good enough no matter what. No matter what. I was born good enough. The only thing that is stopping you is the story that you're telling about it. That's it. If someone told you your faults and you believed them, then you continuously tell yourself the story about your fault. You would never tell a child that. You would never say, I love you, even though you put on a couple extra pounds, I still love you. You didn't get that deal yesterday, but that's a fault of yours. You really just kind of don't conquer all your listing appointments. You're not real great at that, but I love you anyway. You would say to your child, no way. Whether or not you got that listing doesn't define you, and I'm not going to allow it. And we're not going to put your worth on that. No way. I would say, if a child came to me and said, I'm just not worthy anymore. I don't have any friends. Why? Oh, I put on 5 pounds. Oh, so we're believing a story that the number on the scale, the gravity that we have, is like our worth? No. So we got to talk to ourselves like that. We got to love ourselves unconditionally. That is the first step to getting there in the identity and uncovering the stories. Okay. What we focus on expands. So hating ourselves or even part of ourselves makes any sort of success hard. Any sort of success hard. If you're looking for a beautiful relationship, but you're concentrated on the lack of love you had as a child or the relationship that went bad. You're living from the present past. And building a beautiful relationship with that paradigm feels really hard. What if you just knew your past didn't define whether or not you were worthy of it? You just stepped into that identity. Okay. Okay. All right. Guideposts for a wholehearted living. We're going to go into these. We're going to talk about them. And I think that that's going to be really valuable. It was like a huge aha. And again, it's insane. Like whatever I'm teaching is what I'm reading. And it's never coincidence. It's just always like interesting. But I was like, okay, we're going to go over, this is like too good to not go over and to not talk about a wholehearted life before we talk about valuing our time, before we talk about building any kind of business. I had a client say to me, it's so interesting. Like a few months ago, you gave me the step-by-step of exactly how to build a business. I knew exactly what to do. I didn't do it. But now that I've stepped into the identity, it's a no-brainer. Interesting, right? We can give all the playbooks and everything, but we got to do this groundwork first. Okay. Another Brené Brown thing. Sorry, I don't know. Like I'm not even like, I like Brené, but like I don't know. Just kind of one of those things. Okay. Should she define 10 guideposts for wholehearted living? You ready? Get your pen and paper ready. You're going to want this. Cultivating authenticity. Okay. Letting go of what people think. Letting go of what people think. So when we're talking about failures, when we're talking about craziness, when we're talking about shortcomings, I want you to, when you're thinking about that, I want you to think about these guideposts. Letting go of what other people think. I'm going to be real honest with you. This for me was probably one of the hardest things for me. I get better at it all the time. The more I love myself, by the way, it has nothing to do with my success, has nothing to do with my marital status. It has nothing to do with the weight that I hold. The more I love myself unconditionally, the more I'm able to let go of what people think. Doesn't matter. It's okay. No big deal. Cultivating self-compassion, letting go of perfectionism. Yeah. Anyone here struggle with perfectionism or tell themselves the story that they do? I know a few of you in here. I have to be perfect in order to be worthy. I have to do this perfect in order for me to send out this mailer, in order for me to make this call, in order for me to ask for this business, in order for me to be seen, I first must be perfect. So we play small. Cultivating a resilient spirit, letting go of numbing and powerlessness. Numbing and powerlessness. Basically meaning, what does it matter anyway? I'm just not even going to think about it. I'm going to hide it under the rug and I'm going to stay powerless. Cultivating gratitude and joy, letting go of scarcity and fear. Letting go of scarcity and fear. This is a big one because I really want all of us to understand here. If there's a scarcity mindset, first of all of you are on a computer or on a phone, in a home with a roof over your head, clean running water. The people in this room right here have everything they need. The only reason that we feel that we have scarcity is because we're playing the game of comparison. Everything is relative. Everything. So if you're comparing yourself to someone who has more in your eyes of what you desire, you will feel less than. Now, I'm not saying don't want. I'm not saying don't grow and expand. I'm not saying don't be the best version of yourself, but I'm saying it's this. I would love to have that. I would love to experience that. And I'm so grateful for what it is that I have right now. That's a different energy than I need this in my life to feel worthy. You are worthy. You already have everything you need. So the energy then has to become I am so grateful for what I have right now. And I would love to have this experience. I would love to have that. Okay. Okay. Cultivating intuition and trusting faith, letting go of the need for certainty. Okay. Cultivating intuition and trusting faith. The best way to cultivate into your intuition and trust faith, anyone want to take a guess? Put it in the chat. What would be the best way to allow your intuition to speak to you and strengthen your faith? Anyone have an idea? We've done it already. Get into your imagination. Meditate. Jan said meditate. Great. Okay. Yes. Visualize. Step in. Pray. Yes. So whatever it is that you are a believer in, can we at least agree or have faith that there is an energy, there is a source? You can call it God, source, universe, energy, whatever it is, okay? But if you can cultivate and quiet the mind, your intuition will make hits. And the beautiful thing is the higher level of awareness, meaning the identity that you step in, that is where the intuition hits from. So if you go into like a meditation or a prayer saying, I would love to have clarity on this, and I'm going to step into that higher identity of myself, the intuition hits you from that place. Okay. So for those of you that are spiritual or, for me, I'll just explain it. And this is not going to be like a lesson on faith. However, I do believe it's a huge part of quantum leaping. For me, it is definitely getting into my imagination. But I think of this. I think of a prayer as an ask. I think of a meditation as a listen. Quiet the mind, turn off the noise, and just listen through intuition. That's how I think of it. Okay. Cultivating creativity, letting go of comparison. Letting go of comparison. Cultivating play and rest, letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol and productivity as self-worth. I have been guilty of this. In fact, I still have to catch myself. Wearing the long work days, the long work weeks as a badge. I don't have time for fun. I don't have time to go to the cottage this weekend with my family. I don't have time for that. I got to work. I got to grind. And then wearing it as a status symbol. Or even feeling like guilty for when business comes to us easily. And then we have to go, oh, but I worked really hard for that. Or feeling guilty and feeling like you have to justify it if it came to you easy. I got news for you. It's supposed to come to you easy. It's supposed to be easy. Like, I want you to think about this for a minute, okay? You're working with a buyer. And you do the buyer consultation, and the buyer says, oh, this is everything I want in a house. This is everything I want. Like, this is I'm going to paint you the picture of the perfect house for me. You're like, fantastic. Just so you know, inventory is a little low, but I'm going to find it for you. And the very first house you go into, they love and it hits every single box. And you leave and they call you and say, you know what, Jan? That was just too easy. We just don't really feel, we really feel like we should look at more. We really feel like, something's off if it's that easy. Do you know that we do that all the time? We do it all the time. Things come easy and we're like, oh, for some reason, I feel like it should be hard. So I'm going to make it hard. Why? Be open to receive. Okay. And then play. Put play on your calendar, please. Please put play and rest on your calendar. You're your best self when you are happy and playing and having fun. Play, play, play. Cultivate stillness, calm and stillness, letting go of anxiety as a lifestyle. Calm and stillness. Turn the noise off. Calm and stillness. Cultivate meaningful work. Let go of the self-doubt and supposed to's. Self-doubt and supposed to's. Okay. Talking to the women here. All the supposed to's. My house is dirty. My kids aren't eating healthy enough. I'm torn between working and spending time with them. I'm supposed to weigh this. I'm supposed to be this size. I'm supposed to be this way. Let it go. Like, who cares? Right? Who cares? Okay. And then the other one, cultivate laughter, song, and dance, letting go of being cool and always in control. Letting go of being cool and always in control. And I'm going to speak to the women in here too. And I'm going to say it. I have a very good friend of mine who is of a different ethnicity than I am. And she is amazing. And if she feels like it, will wear a crown. If she feels like it, she'll get a little loud. If she feels like it, she just is going to be her authentic self. Has society told us that that's not ladylike? Has society told us not to be loud? Has society told us that being that confident, singing, laughing fully, and being your authentic self is shameful? I question everything now. Who says? Jan, she is so fabulous. Yeah, she is fabulous. She's amazing. And she has brought me out of my shell because it has helped me say, who says? Who says I have to suppress? Who says my feelings are wrong? Who says what I want to do is bad? I'm not suppressing anymore. I'm not suppressing anymore. Okay. Okay. Andrea, your camera is off. So before you come back, I'll just see who has questions on any of that or who can resonate. Resonate? Yeah. So the letting go that Brenny is talking about and what to let go of is exactly what I'm talking about when I say look at the new identity, and when you get the yeah buts or the question, she's saying letting go, I'm saying ask who says. Who says? Do I have to believe that? Is that my truth? Okay. Okay, good. All right. Before we get into the valuing time and actually like really embodying this work of the new identity, I want to talk to somebody who has embodied the work. She saw a video of me embodying my true self when I finally let go and said, who cares? And she contacted me and said, something's different. Whatever it is you have, I want it. And so now we've been working together and it's been beautiful.
Brooke is exactly right. That's how it all rolled out. So I started in Brooke's coaching program for productivity with a few other agents. I think we had like 10 or 12 in the group that we were with back in 2022. My business had a pretty tremendous turnaround from that coaching program. But coming into 2023, I just, for the better part, I went through some challenges in 2023. I more personally, I think, than within my business. My business was on point. I've been in real estate for 10 years. I know the things that I need to do. I knew which direction I needed to head in order to bring in the business. I was one, couple of you can probably attest to, I was an 80-hour a week worker and I considered myself successful, but there was just, I felt like there was something missing and I couldn't pinpoint what it was that was missing. I started to interview coaches outside of our organization. I want to say probably starting in June or July of 2023. And I just never had that connection. I did see a video where Brooke did an introduction, and I was instantly connected to the energy that she had, and I instantly felt like whatever she's got going on, I need more of that in my life. And it really didn't have much to do with the business that I was looking to build. It was more of a personal level for me. Um, I it's really overwhelming when I look at where I was when I started my individual coaching with Brooke back in October to where I am today. Um, really taking a look back, I reviewed my notes from when we first started and the tremendous impact that things have had. You start to see nuggets of things and really using the time to get into my inspiration and allowing myself the time to be able to dream and really decide what I wanted in my life. And yes, I want money. I mean, that's part of my success in being able to bring things into my life that I desire. But it was also a balance of knowing that I don't have to work 80 hours a week in order to make that happen. So the impact that it's just been tremendous. I have been consistently pending $1 million a week since the beginning of this year. Yes, Ashley. Yesterday I pended 1.1 million in one day, 24 hours. I also have another $700,000 listing coming in the next week. So this, I mean, and we're, coming into the month of April where we're just now heating up in the real estate world. But for me, I think it's just this recognizing those little things around you that are happening and putting myself in the presence of people that have the same mindset or have the mindset of what I desire, right? And just being the person that I want to be and not waiting. Coming from corporate America, even before I started in real estate, I always felt like I had those stepping stones and you had to get to one level in order to get to the next level and then to move up to the next level. And when I hit becoming a six-figure income earner, not having a degree, I never felt like I was worthy of earning six figures. I'm already well beyond that in my life. And I know that the opportunity is there to quantum leap into whatever I want it to be in the future. So it's been amazing, just in a nutshell.
One thing about Andrea, and this makes me emotional because when you can see the change in a client, like there's nothing better, right? There's like nothing better. And Andrea came in wanting to be coachable. She came in open. She wanted to really have that experience. And she had a lot of heavy things happen in her life that she was just kind of like seeking more, but didn't know what it was, right? And so by setting a goal that was a large number for her, sure, she set that goal to hit like a sales type of goal, but who she's become by stepping into the identity of that person who already has it, of the version of her who already has it, is what has really drastically changed her results. So it makes it's not, yes, we have to have goals in order for ourselves and our spirits to expand. So that's where it starts, but it's who you become on the journey to get there. And that has been one of the most beautiful things, Andrea, that I've witnessed in you. And we always talk about our wins, we always talk about what we're celebrating, but you've already experienced a couple of quantum leaps. And by the way, I she is no longer with the brokerage I met her at. Okay. And so, but that did not, like, you just knew what you wanted to do with your life, and you weren't attached to the who or the where. So
And
talk a little bit about when you weren't even looking, what you had offered, and then when you decided to step into that identity, what actually happened.
sure. So you are correct. And a big part of my life, and I think many of you can relate to it, is decisions that I made. I always felt like I needed others' input in order to make those decisions. I needed somebody to say, "Atta girl." I needed the hurrahs behind it. What really got me, and I've been consistently an award winner, consistently meeting my goals, and I set high goals for myself. And that was one of the ways that I rated myself on the success portion of it. Um, what really hit me is when I met my goal early in 2023, the big goal that I had been waiting for years to hit, I didn't have the feeling that I expected. It was different. It was like, okay, I had that number behind it, but the feeling wasn't there. And that's really was my turning point when I was like, it's the feeling. It's the thought behind the thought of who you are and what you want to be. That award doesn't mean, it doesn't define who you are as a person. You can be successful without having that piece of paper, that trophy, or whatever it is behind it. I was offered, and I think I look at opportunities differently too. I was offered an opportunity to kind of, I'm going to say like a lateral move, but even more than a lateral move, I was offered an opportunity to come in as and bring my team over to another brokerage. It would have saved us money financially, in aligned with kind of our vision and the things that we're looking to do and grow. But one thing that I learned going through the coaching program is being a sound decision maker. If it's not a hell yes, it's not a hell no, then I have to come back to it later. It sounds interesting. Let me think about it. So that was an easy transition for me when I had a couple offers of different brokerages to go to. As you know, people are going to try to recruit you all the time. They were hell no's. They were not something that I was looking to do. I had to leave behind a family that I've been with for 10 years. It didn't feel right. And then I was offered an amazing opportunity to come in as a co-owner. So with a brokerage that's kind of off the ground running, and we've seen tremendous amount of growth in the time since January when we made this decision to do so. So we're already seeing positive profits. A year ago, if anybody would have thought that I would have been coming in as a co-owner for a brokerage, I never would have thought that to be possible. So for me, it was an easy decision to make. So
Yeah.
I think
And
that
it's not that anything was broken or wrong. It was just that you
no.
stepped into the identity of whatever it was, right? This is my new identity. I'm a $500,000 income earner. I'm $1 million income earner. And what you can see Andrea doing is she then can say, I'm just gonna say $1 million self, like whatever. We don't need to discuss like the real numbers, but let's just say it's like, okay, I'm gonna step into $1 million Andrea. She started making decisions from, would my $1 million self, the version of me and the identity of the millionaire, make this decision? And she said everything was a hell no. Well, all of a sudden, she stepped into the identity of her millionaire self, and opportunity came to her that would be presented to somebody who has $1 million identity. Ownership, not a lateral move. Huge difference. So I love what you just said, Andrea. I'm so glad that you picked up on that, because it's something that we say all the time. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And that's listening to intuition. That's allowing yourself getting quiet. If you don't get quiet and listen to the intuition, you just do what everybody else says. And then if it doesn't feel right, you still don't listen to it because you feel the pressure. You're supposed to do it this way. It's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. I love that. Well, I love you. And every time I talk to you, I get emotional because I just absolutely adore you. I get so attached and so close to my clients because we talk about like real vulnerable things. And like just our relationship in the last however many months has just been like, you've become like one of my absolute favorite people in the entire world. And I'm just so proud of you. And so what's next? Anything next for you?
There's so much next on the horizon. I've already opened 2 additional businesses alongside real estate. So we're incorporating a new staging company that we're building from the ground floor up. Opportunities have just been out here tremendously for me. So again, not every opportunity is a hell yes. But I am
Uh-oh.
so confident in making my decisions. I don't have to consult anybody in order to come up with those opportunities either. And I know, like for me, the value of having a coach. I wasn't like Brooke. I wasn't a person that had a coach. I've had mentors, but having a coach, for my entire career has not been something that I've invested in. And I can't imagine my life without having the ability to grow and continue to grow.
Ugh, I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. Like I just get emotional with it because it's just like to be able to see the shift and like you just stepping into that identity, trusting your intuition, making the decision, allowing yourself to get quiet and really be open to receive. Right.
And I only work about 30 hours a week now.
Yeah. Yeah. $1 million a week pending, co-owner of a brokerage, has 3 open businesses that she has started, and now she works 30 hours a week. Stuff works. It works. If you work it, right, Andrea? Like you really have put it in. You've really put it in. I think the most beautiful thing about is like with you is like we go into coaching, we seek out coaches to um grow our business. And what really happens is we grow ourselves. That's really what it happens, right? So I'm certified with John Maxwell, and he's kind of like the leadership guru. And he says, your business, your leadership skills will never outgrow you. If you want your business to grow, start from within. If you want your leadership skills to grow, start from within, because your outside world is always going to be a reflection of who you are on the inside, and you're a true testament of the transformation. Like look at how your outside world has changed from you growing from the inside.
It's interesting fact too, is kind of, it blows my mind still when I think about it. But back in September, I went to a fun, like a full moon party and had a little session with a psychic. And she told me then, she said, you're about to be on the verge of a massive spiritual awakening. And it still sits with me today. Like she had no idea. I didn't know who she was. She didn't know who I was. But if she could see me now in the spiritual awakening that I've had, and it's so awesome. And I love it because I do, as you guys, many of you know, like I I do train still and have other people that I impact. So being able to have that spiritually and that confidence within yourself to be able to lead others to grow too is so impactful. So
So good.
amazing. So good to be
Ah,
here with you guys.
I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy they were able to hear that. And this is why I keep investing in coaching programs and coaches and mentors myself, simply because if I don't, like, I won't attract people like Andrea, right? Or the minute I do, she's like, yeah, no, like I have to keep growing because my clients keep growing and I have to make sure that I'm still being able to add value. So proud of you, Andrea. Well, I'm super, super excited. Yeah. I love you. So good stuff. Okay. Thank you. Do you have anything else you want to share before I take over again? Oh, good. Okay.
Nope, I'm good.
Ah, good. All right. Well, we can see the shift in you and we're so proud of you and cannot wait to see everything that's coming your way. So keep stepping into that identity, and you already are the identity, right? The beautiful thing is that every new goal that we set for ourselves requires a new identity. So this work never stops. Right? Like, when does it end? It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't end. But it's beautiful because it's like there's no limit to how much love you can let in, to how much prosperity you can let in, to how much like there faith you can let in, right? Being open to receive, but there's no limit. And so we just keep on allowing more. And then as we set those goals, we start allowing more, and naturally our lives just become so much more fulfilled. Whatever it is, whatever that is, right? And so that's why I want us to have very fulfilling lives. Okay, good stuff. Okay. Anyone have anything before I go? You do put it in the chat and then we'll start. Okay, good stuff. Oh, Andrea, I just feel like I'm emotional now. And now I've got to start this whole training, coaching thing. So, all right. Okay. So let's talk about our time. Anyone in the room feel like there's never enough time? Yeah, never enough time. We all feel like, a lot of us feel that way, especially when we're wearing a lot of different hats. We feel like there's just never enough time. And the real thing is that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. We had the same 24 hours in a day that Steve Jobs had. We have the same 24 hours in a day that Mother Teresa had. We have the same 24 hours in a day that the person that you think has everything has. Right? So then what could possibly be the difference? Think about that. What could be the difference? Could it be, oh, time management? Ashley says time management. Yes. Question. Can we actually manage time? Or does the 24 hours go by whether or not we manage it? Yeah, it's in our head. First of all, time is made up. Absolutely. Like, I just don't have enough time. Like, why? Why don't you have enough time? Like, why are you putting the story that's made up is that you have to get more done in the time that you have, first of all. And then we want to ask ourselves why. Well, so and so will be mad at me. Well, then my house won't be clean. Well, then I won't be able to service this person. Da 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 da. Right. So, who are we living for? Are we living for the opinions of others? Are we living because, like, to allow others to tell us what to do with our time? I put too many things on my calendar. Seems like I've been shifting a few things to the next day in the calendar for months. Yes. And by the way, Amy, that's okay as long as you're not attached to the time that it gets done. So the fact that it takes you longer to get things done and you move it to the other day is not a problem, unless you decide it's a problem. If you decide it's a problem, you go, oh, and then you start beating yourself up, right? And not loving yourself unconditionally. And you say, oh, I should have. So where's the pressure of having something done within a certain time frame coming from? Is it a story that serves you? Or is it something that can be delegated or just dumped? Does it have to get done? Right? So that's another question. So we want to start asking ourselves, if we say, I don't have enough time, then say, okay, what is it then that I don't have enough time for? And why then do I feel the pressure to have this task or this thing done within a certain time? Who says? Let it go. I say who says, Brené Brown says, let it go. Let it go. The pressure. I promise you, life is so good when you can let it go. Like, it's so good when you can let it go. So there's a few things, right? There's a few things that you want to look at on what you have on your calendar. So a lot of the people that have been in my coaching have heard me say this about time. It's not so much about managing time, it's about valuing your time. It's about what you do with the time that is passing anyway. Okay. So I want you to look and say, okay, what's on my calendar that can be delegated or dumped? First of all, okay, what's on my calendar that can be delegated or dumped? Amy says, I find myself waking up in the morning and thinking I can finish these things, but then I get to the office and allow other things to sneak in and take precedence. I need to say no to more outside pressure so I can clear some of those things off my calendar. Yes, Amy, I'm going to show you how to do that. I got you. Okay. I got you. Yes. And I get that. So a lot of us wear several hats. Amy, you sell, you're a mom, you are a manager, you have a lot of things going, right? So it's easy to take on those outside pressures of what we think we should be doing. I get it. I have a coaching business. I just took on 3 bonus children. I still sell real estate, like all the things, right? So we all have like things. It's like, okay, wait a minute. What am I valuing? And is this in line with the identity of who I am stepping into, of what it is that I desire? Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to, Ashley says, I will read your comments, by the way, because I think that the dialogue is beautiful. So it says, I think accepting that my day will look different than others. It doesn't mean that I am less or need to do more to be fulfilled or accomplish things. Yes. Ashley, can you step into that version of her? The answer is a very confident, absolutely. It's a decision. It's a decision. And if for some reason you can't, I want you to ask yourself, what is it that I'm attached to? Why am I attached to the idea that I need to do more in order to be enough? That I need to be perfect in order to be seen? Why am I attached to that story? What is it about that story? And does it serve me? And the story is, I'm enough whether or not it gets done or not. I'm enough whether or not I do it or not. Okay. Whether I do it or not. So I'm going to talk about delegate or dumped. When I put out my goals, when I put out all the things I would love, okay, just like you got all did yesterday or today, when you were putting everything out and you were doing this storm of, I would love my life to look like this. I want you to ask yourself, was anything on there of, I would just love to have more time to go to the grocery store. I would just love to have more time to clean my house. My perfect life would, I'm going to lay, it's going to sound morbid, but I'm going to lay on my deathbed and I'm going to go, oh man, I did a good job having a clean house. Yay. Are you going to lay on your deathbed and go, oh, I am so glad I spent all that time stressing about what I was going to wear. I'm so glad I spent my life doing this. So the first thing, there's a reason that we actually put out what we want our life to look like, both personally and professionally, because you're going to be able to see in there what matters most to you. If it doesn't matter to you, can we let it go? Can we let it go? Can it be delegated or dumped? Delegated or dumped, I mean this. Okay, I have a thing I need to have. I really don't like, let's say you just say, I don't like a messy house. I want a clean house. So every Friday, I clean my house. Okay, ask yourself, like, really? Does your spouse, do you, do your kids, do your dogs, do your friends, do your in laws, do they care who cleans your house? No. If you care that you have a clean house, but you find that it's not in line with what it is that you desire in the version of yourself of who you're stepping into, can you spend $100 every couple of weeks and have someone else clean it? Maybe. Maybe. Could it be delegated? Could be. Could you then say, I gotta go to the grocery store? Like, think about what you're complaining about. Okay. The things you complain about are the things that you really want to think about of who says, I have to go to the grocery store. It's going to take me 3 hours between getting there, doing the thing, taking the list, unloading the car, all the things. Oh, I have to go to the grocery store today. Can we just hit duplicate and reorder on Shipped and save ourselves time there or Instacart? Like, do your kids care who does the grocery shopping, or do they just care that there's food in the pantry? We think we have to do all things. Why? Who says? No, let it go. Okay. So the first thing I want you to do is look at the list of all of your to dos. But what I really want you to do is I want you to look at the life that you decided you are stepping into, that identity. Okay. So in the chat, someone tell me, give me an example of what would be a professional goal that you're stepping into and what would be a personal goal that you're stepping into. The version of you, the identity. If it doesn't bring or us happiness or joy, it has no space. Yes, absolutely. My thing is if it doesn't bring me happiness or joy or make me money, meaning moving me towards my income goal, the answer is no. The answer is no. Well, don't you feel bad, Brooke? No, I don't believe the story that I should feel bad for that. Why? Because if I am feeling bad about it, I am living according to someone else's plan for me. Let me ask you this. Who's paying your bills? Who's raising your kids? Who's going on vacation with your spouse? Why are we letting other people dictate what we should be doing? How we should be spending our time? All the shoulds. Okay. So the answer is if this millionaire Andrea, I look at what a millionaire does, how do they behave and what do they do? Yeah. Yes. Would I be stressing about this as my millionaire version of me? No. Then why am I stressing about it right now? Would it be an issue? Would I be in if one of the personal goals is I want to have a better relationship with my husband and you're finding yourself in gossip and negativity with your girlfriends about talking negatively about your husbands, stop and ask yourself, would the version of me who's in a happy marriage be talking this way with their girlfriends? No. Then stop. If you're engaging in gossip and you don't want to be gossiped about and the higher version of you doesn't gossip, stop gossiping now. That's what I mean by are the decisions I'm making from the best version of me, the highest version of me. And I'm going to warn you, now that you've identified her, you will feel the contrast. And when you feel the contrast, ooh, this does not feel good, that is your indicator that the contrast is within, that there's something going on in your outside world that is not in alignment with the version of you that you desire. that you're stepping into. You will feel the contrast. The contrast will actually even feel heavier. You will start to notice things. And I want to let this be very well known and said. Just because you notice it doesn't mean we have to judge it within ourselves or within others. We can just observe it and choose otherwise. We can just observe it and choose otherwise. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So what are we going to do? So I want you to look in and I want you to grab the goals that you set for yourself, the highest version of you that you can see. Remember, from that spotlight. I want you to look at that and I want you to circle, what is it that is like the biggest one for me? What if I accomplish this one in my business life and this one in my personal life, which of them are going to make the biggest impact? All right. Meaning, some of us might have a business goal, maybe to sell 10 million. I don't know what the number is. Okay. I'm going to sell 10 million this year. But then you have another business goal that's like, I'm going to have 25 listings. I'm going to buy 2 investment properties this year. Maybe it's I'm going to organize my database. Maybe it's I'm going to talk to people more, right? All the things. What's the business goal? Well, here's the question. If I just focused on selling the 10 million, does that make all of my other professional goals easy? Yeah, they just naturally happen, right? So we don't want to focus on 5, 6, 7 professional goals. We want to simplify it. What's the one professional goal that's going to really make sure everything else gets done? Okay. Same thing like what I said yesterday. Some people were thinking, Brooke, I just need to pay my bills. Okay. So if my professional goal is I just want to pay my bills with ease, that's always going to be the goal. But if I have a bigger goal on there to sell 10 million, 15 million, whatever it is, do I just naturally start paying my bills with ease? Yes, that becomes easier. That makes sense? So we're just going to focus on 1 or 2. Same thing with your personal life. A lot of us will set personal goals, which I want you to set personal goals. But what I want you to do is I want you to look at one of them, 2 of them. What can I concentrate on right now that's going to make everything else easier? Okay. Doesn't mean all the other goals go away. We're going to focus on each of our personal goals for like 12 weeks until it becomes habitual. Once it becomes habitual, you don't need to do it anymore. Habit. Like I no longer need to say, I'm going to set a goal to get up in the morning and do my personal growth and journal and all the things. Like it's not a goal because it's just part of who I am now. I don't need to do that anymore. Okay, so who am I expanding into? All right. So then we're going to circle those. I want you to identify what is the biggest personal and professional goal that I desire to have within the next quarter, within the next 12 months. What is that? And is it in alignment with the highest version of me that I've identified? I'm going to start making decisions from her. Okay. I want you to understand though, that like time blocking is not necessarily having your every minute of every day blocked out. A lot of us think that we need to have every minute of every day blocked out. A lot of us, anyone in the room, love to have to-do lists and you just love to cross things off. Yeah, so some of you have heard me say this before. All right, I'm going to make my to-do list. And then I'm going to identify what are the activities on my to-do list that are going to get me closer to my personal and professional goal. What is it on my to-do list that is going to get me closest to my personal and professional goal. What you're going to want to do then is create your success list. That is your success list. That goes first. So if you said, okay, I would desire to sell 10 million this year, 15 million this year. Great. That's the number one thing I'm focused on. What is the activity that's going to get me closest to that? No matter what, I'm going to reach out to 10 people every single day. Great. That goes on the calendar. What's the one activity that I can put on my calendar that's going to get me closest to my goal? Same thing with personal. What's the one activity I can do to get me closest to my goal? If for some reason we had let's say a health goal, a weight loss goal, I don't know. Well, what are the activities I can do every day so that everything else is easy and unnecessary? That's going to be part of my success list. Maybe I'm going to go to the gym these 3 days. I'm going to block that in my calendar. Maybe I'm going to do food prep on Sunday. I'm going to block that on my calendar. Okay. So I know that the activities I do are on my calendar. I'm going to allow my calendar to be my boss. Okay. If you want to stop there, great. At least you know the activities that go on your calendar are moving you towards your best version of you. You're stepping into that identity. Then, if you don't want to stop there, this is going to go against some of your wiring. The next thing I want you to ask when you're looking at your to-do list is, what on here brings me joy? Date night brings me joy. It's on my calendar. And we do not miss a Wednesday date night. Does it get me closer to my goals? Maybe if like a goal is that like I want to enhance my relationship right now, right? But that brings me joy. I'm doing that. Going to the gym brings me joy, even if I don't have a health goal this quarter. If it brings me joy, it goes on my calendar. So what's going to move me closest, both personally and professionally, and what brings me joy? Then I want you to look at the rest of the to-do list and say, okay, is this necessary? Can this be delegated? Can I just get rid of it totally? So when you think about that, if you're only doing the things that are moving you closest to your goal, and then you're also doing the things that bring you joy, what's left? All the things that you can't stand that doing, all the sand, all the noise, all the stuff that you're like, what? And I just don't have enough time in my day. The thing is that what we do though, is we attempt to tackle that stuff first. And we tackle that stuff first. Why? Why do we attempt to tackle the things that don't move us closest to our goals or the things that bring us joy first? What's the story? Could be different for everybody. I could disappoint somebody. Other people's needs. I'm worried what people will think. I could be judged. Why? Who says? Let it go. Who's paying your bills? Who's raising your kids? Who's married to your spouse? Why? We've been wired to allow society to tell us what it is that we should be doing. And so we do that to please society. And then we go, I don't know why I just feel so empty and depleted. And I just can't make any headway on what it is that I desire. I just don't have enough time in the day. Yes, you do. It's about valuing your time. It's about valuing it and being able to set the boundaries. Okay. So I'm going to say this. There's 2 ways that I can find what people prioritize. Only 2. Anyone want to take a guess? Put it in the chat if you think you know. How do you know what someone prioritizes? What would I look at? Someone says, yeah, that's a priority. How would I know whether or not it is? Ashley, you cracked me up. Internet went out facepalm. Okay. Look at their life. Yes. Specifically what? What do I look at specifically in their life? Anyone want to take a guess? If someone says, yes, I value that, how would you know? Think about if somebody says to you, I value you, and you don't believe them. Why wouldn't you believe them? What would you not get from them? Time. Time. The amount of time and money they spend on something. Absolutely. Julie, you nailed it. If you really want to know what you value, look at your calendar, look at how you spend your time, and look at your bank account. Look at how you spend your money. And if you're looking at how you spend your time on money, that things that aren't bringing you closer to your goals or bringing you joy, it's time to ask why. What story am I attached to? What am I so afraid of? Why? If I can look at my calendar and I can look at my bank account, and I know that that is what is going to be the indicator of what it is that I value, and it is not bringing enjoyment and fulfillment into your life, you have to ask why. Who says? Who says? And what story am I attached to with it? I'm attached to the story of I might not be worthy. I'm attached to the story that someone might be mad at me. I'm attached to the story that I might fail. I'm attached to the story of I'm not worthy or good enough. I'm attached to the story that I'm a mom, I'm a spouse, my happiness, my success is supposed to come last. Let me tell you right now, you are so much better for the people who love you when you love yourself. You are so much better for them. You're just showing them how to do it. And that is like a beautiful thing. It's so beautiful. So I really want you to think about that. Okay. I'm going to share a story with you. My mom, I shared the story about my mom with you yesterday. Okay. And some of you might have heard this before. Bless her heart. May she rest in peace. She was the most amazing mom. The most amazing mom. She poured everything that she had into her children and into her grandchildren. And she was the one always saying to me, you know, Brooke, you've got this. Brooke, all the things. I'm a cheerleader and anything you need. And she was the one that would always take over the kids. And she was the one that always stepped in. But she was also the one that, in the same breath, she would tell me how great I was. Couldn't take a compliment. She'd look in the mirror and go, oh, I'm so old. I'm so fat. Ah, I hate my job. I don't want to go to work today. I hate what I'm doing. Do you think that by that example being brought up with me made me grow up and be a really confident woman? No, she's who I look up to most. Her behavior was I have to be unkind to myself in order to be a good mom. I have to hate working for a living and doing what I'm doing in order to provide, in order to be enough. Now y'all know I needed years of like coaching and undoing and rewriting stories. And it never ends. I promise you, loving yourself And I'm not faulting my mother. She was absolutely amazing. She did the best she could. But my point is we all do that and we learn it. These are learned behaviors that do not serve us. So just ask yourself, why am I so attached to that story? Why? And just know the better you are, the more love you have for yourself, the more you are open to receive and allow it in. The minute you know that you can't allow it in and you're not open to receive is when someone gives you a compliment and you rebuttal. I love your shirt. Oh, this thing? It's so old. I've had it for so long. Oh, your hair looks so good today. Really? Oh my God, my grays. Oh, you look so young. I can't believe you just said that. I got to go get my Botox. Like, what? Everything we get. You're a good mom, right? We rebuttal all that, but then the minute someone gives us a compliment, we don't believe them. Okay. How you spend your time, how you spend your money. That's how you know what you value. You want to know what someone else values? Pay attention to that. Okay. So first thing that's going to go on the calendar, what's going to move you closest to your goals, personal and professional. Create that as your success list. Second thing, what brings me joy? You put just those things on your calendar and you will find you have so much time in your day. You have so much time in your day. I want to sell 10 million this year. Okay, great. What's the one thing you can do every day to make sure that that happens and that you're moving closer to your goal? I'm going to talk to 10 people every day. Great. What about your transactions? Don't you have to do your transaction coordination? No, if I sell 10 million, I'm hiring a transaction coordinator and paying them per transaction. Well, what about your social media? No, if I pick up the phone and talk to 10 people a day, it doesn't matter what my social media says because I'm going deep in relationships and that's what matters. And I can hire a director of fun to do my social media for me if I desire to. Big deal. Like an hour, whatever. What's the one thing I can do? Everything else becomes easy and unnecessary, or can be dumped or delegated. Okay. I color code mine. I color code my calendar. So anything that is going to make me money, move me closer to the goal, I color code in green. Okay. So in my green time, I'm either setting appointments or going on appointments. Setting appointments or going on appointments. My personal time is yellow. I think it's just because it's shiny like the sun and I enjoy it and it makes me fun. It gives me joy. Okay. That's how I do it. If you only work off of those things, everything else will fall into place. Everything else will fall into place. If you want an example of the calendar that I lived by for years as a full-time real estate agent, let me know and I'm happy to send it to you. Okay. I will warn you, it's very full. I'm very time blocked, just so you know. But that's just how I operate. Okay. Okay. All right. So time. How do we, I want you to really make sure you put that on your calendar. And I also want you to make sure that you understand that when you put it on your calendar, it's an appointment. It's an appointment, just like what we talked about yesterday. If you are on a date with your spouse or with your girlfriends because it brings you joy, or you're doing something with your children and it is in your time blocking and it is an appointment, it is to be treated like an appointment. If you are on a listing appointment and a buyer called to see a home, would you tell the sellers that you are working with right there? Yeah, no, hang on just a second. A lead just came in. I need to stop our conversation and take this one. No, you would call it back after the appointment and you would say, I was in an appointment. I'd love to help you. Why then, when we're doing things we enjoy and when we're doing things with our spouse and we're actually have a priority on our calendar, we then go, we're at date night. Oh, hang on, babe. Just a sec. I got to answer this. Oh, hang on. I gotta respond to this call. Oh, hang on. I'm going to let you know right now, real estate has a very, very, very high rate of divorce. Why? Because we think we have to work around the clock for everything. We have to be responsive. But if you are in an appointment, you don't answer your phone. And I promise you this, no one has ever said to me, "Oh, really? What was your appointment?" No one's ever going to say that to me. And if anybody ever did, then they just wouldn't be a client, right? Like, now, the only time is there are exceptions. Yes, we're negotiating, there's time sensitive things, right? There are exceptions, but not the norm. Do not make it the norm. If you have an appointment with someone in your personal life and it is how you value your time and spend your money, keep it as an appointment. Okay. There's an example of that in my, what I have in my calendar. So if you want that, let me know and I'll send it to you. Okay. All right. So then how do we build a business off of what we love doing, off of moving us closer? And does anyone in the room love cold calling? Everybody, great. Okay, this is going to be good. So we're going to talk about cold calling. I'm kidding. I am not a fan of cold calling either. And you can build an empire without ever making a cold call in your life, as long as we're intentional. As long as we're intentional. Okay. So what we're going to do is I want you to take a look at your business tonight. And I want you to say, what are the 3 lead sources that I am getting most of my business from? How am I getting most of my business? Okay. Maybe it's one lead source. Maybe it's friends, family, sphere of influence. Beautiful. You don't have to have 3. But as realtors, we think I got to cast a wide net and I got to be everywhere. Oh, I'm going to do advertising here. I'm going to dabble in this. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to spend money here. No, we don't need to cast a wide net and keep adding on things. We need to go deeper. Okay. I'm going to let you know how to go deeper. Okay. Going deeper, you're going to ask yourself these 3 questions with your top lead sources that come in. Can I add more time or effort to this? Have I utilized all the time that I desire or am able to apply to this lead source? Okay, so look at your top one right now. Maybe it's sphere of influence. Have you allotted, time blocked, the time and effort, okay, that you desire or can? Second one, so I'm going to get an example of that is like, let's say you just said, I got most of my business from open houses last year. Maybe that was a source. Okay, great. How many open houses did I do then? I did 1 a month. I did 12. Do I desire? Do I have the ability? Do I have the extra time in to do 2 a month and double that? If the answer is yes, great, schedule it. If the answer is no, let it go. It doesn't mean like, oh my God, I have like 4 weekends in a month or 5 weekends in a month. I have to do an open house every week. You choose that. You choose. If the answer is yes, let it go. Second question, have I utilized all the resources? Okay. This is a common one, and it's also going to be the one that's going to demand probably that you spend a little money. Okay. So resources meaning like, have I like put into like a direct mail campaign, mailers, marketing, if it's internet leads, great. But for me, utilizing resources as far as money, Yes, Andrea said it. This is what I'm going to give to you. And I'm going to give you all these ideas tomorrow. We're going to go with the playbook. Okay. So as far as resources go, many of you downloaded my playbook for how to host housewarming parties for all your buyers. If you did not, it's in the Facebook group Uncaged Potential. Grab it. If you need it, let me know. Okay. Playbook for that. Housewarming parties. Have I utilized housewarming parties? Because I'm talking about repeat and referral. How about client appreciation events? Pop buys. Andrea said pop buys. How about I have a favorite people questionnaire where I send to my top people and I find out their favorite drinks, their favorite foods, their favorite restaurants, do I know everything? That would be being resourceful so that I can spoil my sphere of influence. Okay. Have I utilized all the resources available to me? And then the third is you're going to want to ask, are my skills with this lead source as sharp as they possibly can be? Am I the master? Am I known for this? Okay. So have I put in the time and effort? Have I utilized all my resources? And are my skills with this lead source as sharp as they possibly can be? Here's the thing. We think we need to, like I said, we think we need to cast a wide net. I promise you, your major lead source that you have right now is probably your biggest lead source because it's what you enjoy doing. So you will do it consistently. I have a repeat and referral business. Oh, fabulous. Which clearly says to you, I don't cold call. I don't enjoy it. So why then would I say, I'd really like to grow my business, so I'm just going to start cold calling? No. Ask yourself these 3 questions on your business, on your best resources that you have. Okay. Anyone have any comments on that before I move forward? All right. So what we're going to do then, and I usually try and end a little bit early because I want to give you time to work on things and reflect on this. Okay. So I'm doing my best to kind of speed this up, but if I'm not, I'm sorry. What I want you to do then is I want you to look at your database. Past clients, the people who are using and referring you. And I really want you to define, where is my business coming from? So even if you just look at last year and you go, okay, where did the business come from last year? Who are my repeat and referral clients? Who are the people who are referring me the most? Who are the people that are singing my praises? Those are the people that we're going to identify as like your sphere of influence, the people who know you, like you, trust you, and have the ability to use and refer your services. And then there's going to be that group of people that you're like, I don't know. I think they would. Maybe I should probably contact them. And we all, if we've been in business long enough, have those people where we're like, yeah, I kind of dropped the ball on that one, right? If that's you and you have those people, just call them or send them something and say, hey, I dropped the ball. I really would love to stay in contact with you. Okay. You're going to identify where's your business coming from. A lot of people, we have this understanding because I don't know, maybe society told us, again, I question everything, that we're supposed to work on our weaknesses. Ooh. Do not work on your weaknesses. Work on what's working. Like, I'm not saying like you don't like have opportunity to grow in an area, right? Sharpen your skills. But that's like me saying, oh, I think I'm going to work on my weaknesses now. So instead of coaching and being in front of people, I'm going to go be an accountant. Like, what? Why would I do that? To work on what you enjoy. You can actually build a business loving every moment of it. When I call my sphere of influence, the magic number, for those of you that are wondering, like, what's the magic number? If you don't know, start with 10 a day. No matter what, I'm just saying 10 conversations a day. Okay. I will say research shows, and it used to be you touch your sphere of influence 33 times a year. That's actually gone down now because of like our digital world and social media and stuff like that. So you really want to make sure that you're touching them a minimum of 24 times a year. Okay. That does not mean a phone call 24 times a year saying, can you use or refer me? These are the people that you already are in relationship with. So like lead with the relationship. Like get rid of commission breath. Really. Like everybody knows you sell real estate. Lead with a relationship. If you want to build a repeat and referral business, lead with the relationship. Okay. Once a quarter, I ask them, do you know of anyone looking to buy or sell real estate? Other than that, I'm doing coffees, sending handwritten notes, inviting them to my client appreciation events, and letting them know that they're an important person to me. I give value and trust that everything else is going to work out. When you set the goal and you just say, okay, now I'm going to contact these 10 people every day or today, and I just give value. I care about you. I'm the real estate expert. They will absolutely. It just all works out. It's crazy how it does. It just does. Your goals will be like you'll have more business and you know what to do. The thing is that we all know what we should be doing. It's just easier not to do it until you decide why. And do not let your why be your excuse. What do I mean by that? When I first got into real estate, single mom, kids are 4 and 6, great big why right there. I'm going to show my kids this is how this can be done. I'm going to give them the life that they decide that I want to provide. I want to show them what's possible. My kids are my why. Could my kids also be my excuse not to? Yes. I can't. I have kids at home. I'm a single mom. Don't allow your why to be your excuse. I want to retire by the time I'm 55. Great. Why are you not talking to 10 people a day? Well, I think I'm just too old for this. I think I'm an old dog in this. They've got new people contacting them all the time. You just let your why be your excuse. Okay. Don't let your why be your excuse. Okay. So you're going to look in your database and you're going to say, where is my business coming from? All of you are here because you heard I wasn't going to coach on cold calling, I'm sure. So we're going to figure out how we can absolutely go deeper with this source of business. Okay. Tomorrow, what we're going to do, I want you to determine what are my 3 sources? Where is my business coming from? No more than 3. If it's 1 or 2, perfect. And then ask yourself, have I utilized all the time and effort I'm able to on this one? Have I utilized all the resources available for this one? And are my skills as sharp as they possibly can be? Am I known for this? Am I the best at this? Am I the master? Okay. You're going to find gaps. If the answer to all 3 of them is yes, okay, then maybe it's time to add another resource if you desire to grow your business. But if the answer is no to any of those, then I really want you to be truthful with yourself and say, okay, this is an opportunity. I clearly already enjoy doing this. I clearly find this to be the easiest way for me to get business. And by the way, it should be easy. It shouldn't be hard. But we have to stop saying, especially when we grow a business on repeat and referral, we have to stop worrying about what the market is doing. When you build a repeat and referral business, you decide your market. Let me say that again. When you build a repeat and referral business, you decide your market. You decide. Why? If you are in close relationship, you will know what's going on in their lives. Do people still get married regardless of what the housing market is like? Do they still have children? Do they still become empty nesters? Do they still get married or divorced, lose jobs or relocate, get a raise, upgrade? Life still happens no matter what the market is doing. Your job is to be in relation with them. Life happens. Because on average, most people will know about 7 or 8 realtors and really what it is, but when they're under pressure, they can only name 1, maybe 2. Why not you? Who cares what the market's doing? People still have lives, and as long as you're in relation, your business isn't market dependent. Stop worrying about that. Okay. I got married this summer, sold 2 houses, bought a house, did renovations. Do you think that at that time, yeah, I mean, the interest rate sucked because like we had to get a totally different interest rate than what we both had on our houses that we sold. And that was like, whoa, but we were still going to buy. The interest rates didn't determine our decision. We're still going to sell and we're still going to buy. You know what I mean? Like life still happens. So we don't want to like have this outside factors be our excuse not to. Just be in relation and know that everything happens. Okay. So once you define those sources, what we're going to talk about tomorrow is I am going to go over some of my programs because some of you have already asked me, but I'm not going to spend all day on it. It's not going to be a sales day, I promise. But what we are going to do is I am going to, and I would really love to know your interest level before, but I have everything to provide. So it doesn't matter what it is to me. Okay. But there are so many things that we have done. And again, just grown as time has gone by with our repeat and referral clients. So there are things that we do. One of them was the housewarming parties. So y'all are aware of those. So if you're not, grab it, get the playbook. The other one is throwing client appreciation parties and really having that be what we surround the 20, like touching our sphere of influence around 24 times a year. So client appreciation parties, housewarming parties. There's also, you can build a repeat and referral business off of your allied resources, like your vendors and like who you're in close relation to there and building networking groups. Drop buys. We talked about, Andrea brought up drop buys. Or just simply touching them 24 times a year, but having that favorite, knowing all of their favorite things and how we utilize that too. So there's a lot of ways for us to be able to get deeper with our sphere rather than adding on another lead source. So let me know like what resonates with you most. Maybe we'll cover like 2 or 3 in detail tomorrow and really go over those playbooks. So you walk out of here knowing, okay, this is my lead source. This is where I can either a lot more time, utilize my resources, or sharpen my skills. And we can talk about all 3 of those things on any of those topics that we desire to talk about. Will that be helpful? I'll literally just hand you the playbook and I'll go over it with you and answer your questions. And we can build a beautiful repeat and referral business, however big it is that you desire. But first we gotta know who, where's it coming from? What are our top lead sources? And have I utilized these 3 things with that? Make sure it's in your calendar too. We're going to step into the identity, the version of you who has already sold that much business, meaning we're going to be able to, once we step into the identity of it, step in with confidence and actually work the playbook. Good? Okay. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Or anyone want to add anything? If so, go ahead and put it in the chat. If not, all right, we got a little, I said till 1, but I do try and give you a little bit of time to utilize it. So if you, please take more than 7 minutes on this. Give yourself the gift of actually doing it for more than 7 minutes, then come back in tomorrow, really having all that groundwork played. We'll get the playbook over to you, or we'll get the questionnaire over to you, the worksheets too today, and also the recording of this if you want to rewatch it and also do the worksheets. I promise you, The magic happens in the work outside of here. The magic happens by going in, by going, and like actually like doing the worksheets, doing the inner work. The magic doesn't happen just from showing up and having the knowledge. The magic happens from being it and applying it. And I have a couple comments in here. Just check emails for the replays and worksheets. Emails may be in your junk folder. Yeah, a lot of people like contacted us and said that the emails went into their junk. So if it went into your junk, um, we wouldn't be surprised. All right. I appreciate all of you. We'll see you tomorrow, 11 o'clock. Have a good one.